Handing off your designs to developers is as good as the design itself. It's one thing to design, it's another thing to implement what you've designed. And the best way to ensure this is by specifying all your requirements to your developers so that you don't assume that they know what you want, but you spell it out. And one way to do so, which I'll explain in this video, is by using annotations. Let's see what that means. I will use this dashboard as a case study to explain what annotations can do. So here we have two buttons, and to us designers, this seems like two ordinary buttons, but developers might argue that these buttons mean two different things. They might say that the first one is a button, while the second one is a link. So it's acting as a link because it makes them to download a particular report. For us to specify what these two buttons is exactly, we can use annotations. So there are different ways of using the annotations. You can use the Figma annotations, or you can use this free resource we have here, which is the Web Accessibility Annotations Kit. You can decide to research it and then download it. So for this button, we are going to bring in this button. So you want to specify what this button is, and of course, yes, is a button, and we want to show what this first button is. So we are going to open up everything. So this first one is showing that it is button, and the accessibility name, just like the name on the button implies, is download reports. While the description, you can now describe what this button is going to do. So you can say link to download reports. So you can see that the description is telling developers that this should link to download reports. And what is the type? You can ask developers what their own type is. This cannot be submit because it's not submitting a form. You use submit when you have a form. So you could ask developers what their type could be. So it could be link, or it could be just button, or it could be just button. Then this particular description here is if you want this button to lead to a path on a page. Say for example, you want this button to lead to the home page, but on this home page you want it to lead to the about section. So you can say about section, but in this case it does not apply, so we can just delete it. Now for this second button we have here, it shows view project summary. So this is going to be a button, and then on this button the accessible name can still be the same name on the button, which is view project summary. Then on the description you can say lead to the project details page. So the type can still be button. So you can see that with this spelled out description, you have properly communicated to the developers what you want them to include. And it's not a must you have to specify all of this in every button. It's good to always communicate with them to better get what they need. Another way to also use an annotations is by using heading annotations. So let's say on this web page, we have 3 headings. On this first heading, the size here is 48. The second one, the size is 96. And the third one, the size is 86. According to us designers, we will say that this is the lowest width, which is header 3. This one, which has the highest size, which is 96, is going to be our H1. But our H1 is not at the top of the page, it's at the middle of the page. So developers is going to argue that this first heading here is the H1, while the second one is the H2, irrespective of the size. And we cannot start changing the size just to fit what the developers are going to say. So instead, we are going to label this first heading as header 1, irrespective of the fact that it has the lowest size, and then the second one as header 2, and the last one as header 3. So in our annotations, instead of using header 3, which is the lowest size, we are going to now use header 1. And we are going to describe what this heading is to the developers. The same thing with this header 2 and header 3. Also, we can describe images for developers, and this will also come in handy for screen readers. So say for this particular image, you want to describe it. First, you want to ask the developers which of the tag that they are using. It's either IMG or SVG. If it's SVG, there is no need for an accessible name, that is the alt. But if it's IMG, you can also include an accessible name. So for this particular image, we want to describe it, and we can say a car crashing into another car. That is the accessible accessible name, and this will also come in for the screen reader. This is one of the many ways to hand over your designs to developers by using annotations. This way, you are not allowing the developers to assume what you don't intend for it to be implemented, and so you and your developer are now working hand in hand.